covering the entire Piedmont Triad and everywhere you are. This is WXII 12 News at 5.
Happening right now on WXII 12 News at 5, trouble in the water as flash flooding hits several states, including North Carolina.
Good evening. Tonight at 5 o'clock, we're starting off here in the Weather Center with meteorologist Michelle Kennedy.
Michelle, I understand there's some rain on radar right now.
Oh, definitely rain on radar. And what we're seeing out there are some storms firing up with some heavy downpours, too. Now, we're not looking right now at a possibility of flooding, but there is always that chance that we could get a super soaker with one of these thunderstorms. So we're watching for that. You see those thunderstorms firing up over southern sections of Wilkes County, also heading up into Wilkes, heading north into Surrey and Yadkin. You can see those heavy downpours here indicated in the reds and the oranges. And this is where we think we're going to have some half-inch totals from some of these showers and storms that are moving through the area and building as they move in now to the daytime heating. We've got that heat that's been going for us, and so that's creating a little bit of instability too. You see those showers and thunderstorms over areas of Tennessee and rolling up to the north and east. So more storms on the way for you for the next few hours. Our temperatures at 80 degrees by 8 o'clock. Isolated showers should remain, or a storm or two starting to wind down around 11 o'clock. And overnight in the mountains, there is a slight chance of showers, but by tomorrow morning, we may even see a peak of sunshine while it remains muggy. Your full forecast is coming up.
And remember, keeping track of the forecast is easy. Just click over to WXII12.com and check out the interactive radar feature in the weather section.
There is some major flooding damage in western North Carolina tonight, specifically in Transylvania County. That's where wet weather this week is responsible for a number of problems. That rain caused a bridge at the Green River Preserve to just wash away.
A lot of rain, sometimes over 10 inches over the weekend, but I never thought that it was going to accumulate to what it is right here. So we're all pretty shocked about it.
In nearby Henderson County, North Carolina, a sawmill was damaged by floodwaters. The workers there say in just a matter of seconds, at least 3 feet of water surrounded them on all sides.
Flooding in South Carolina has claimed at least one life. The body of 23-year-old Logan Dale was recovered today in central South Carolina. Authorities say his vehicle was washed down a creek near his family's home. County coroner says his body was found approximately a mile down the creek. Help is on the way for hundreds of North Carolinians who were hit hard by severe weather last month. Aid on the state and federal level has been granted to flood victims in Catawba, Burke, Caldwell, and Lincoln counties. Between July 12th and 27th, those areas were slammed with bad weather. A disaster loan outreach center opened today in the Newton community of Catawba County.
We have some dramatic video out of Tennessee where Nashville first responders performed a number of flood rescues. Here you can see some people on top of their roofs in an effort to escape the rising waters. According to the National Weather Service, as much as 7 inches of rain was reported in some areas. One of those rescues included these heroes at work. First responders pulling a baby in its car seat to safety during a rescue in Nashville. A mother and her children were all trapped by the rising waters, and thankfully they all made it safely to dry ground. We'll have much more on the dangerous flooding coming up on WXII 12 News at 5:30. And remember, for the latest news and weather headlines, you can click over to WXII12.com.
The state released its report on the graduation rate in North Carolina, and it shows a lot of improvement. 82% of this year's graduating seniors received their diploma in 4 years. That figure is up from 80% last year and 68% from 2006, the year the state began recording the data. Our Margaret Johnson is crunching the local numbers, and she'll have that report coming up on WXII 12 News at 6. Good news for students in the University of North Carolina system. Today, the president of UNC announced there are no plans to raise tuition heading into the 2014-2015 academic year. This would only apply to in-state students. This would be the first time in a decade that UNC students would not have to pay a tuition increase. The state legislature has ordered a 12% increase next year for out-of-state students attending campuses in Chapel Hill, Wilmington, Greensboro, and Winston-Salem. Out-of-state tuition will rise 6% at other campuses.
There is a new report out tonight that shows the most dangerous counties in North Carolina when it comes to different kinds of crashes. The annual report from AAA Carolinas shows that Watauga County is the 4th most dangerous county for collisions. Allegheny is the 3rd most dangerous county for deadly motorcycle accidents. Montgomery County comes in at number 5 for most dangerous county for deadly tractor-trailer crashes, and Guilford County is 5th in the state when it comes to the highest number of total fatal crashes. If you want to look at that complete report, you can click over to WXII12.com.
Distracted driving is a problem in all parts of the country. Today, some people in the Piedmont got an opportunity to see the real-world dangers of texting behind the wheel. AT&T brought a virtual reality simulator to Burlington as part of its national It Can Wait program. Officials with the program say people who text while driving are 23 times more likely to be involved in an accident.
We are trying to take simulators out into the community to show people just how dangerous it can be. This gives them the ability to get behind the wheel, actually see what it's like to send a text, and just how easy it is to get into a crash, hit a pedestrian, or break a traffic law. Essentially, we want people to view texting and driving as socially unacceptable as drinking and driving.
The It Can Wait program has more than 1 million people who have pledged to not text and drive.
There could soon be a new way for police in one Piedmont community to fight crime. The Yadkinville Police Department has applied for a state grant that would give them 4 dash cameras for their police cruisers. This grant would pay for half of the cost of those dash cams. The other half would come from the City Council. City Council gave the green light to that decision this week. Police Chief Tim Parks says that these cameras will help protect the streets.
It stores up to 20 hours of footage, so if something happened 3 weeks ago and then something happened, say, tomorrow, an officer stops a car and he says, I think, we might have dealt with that car, 3 weeks ago.
It's been 12 years since the Yadkinville Police Department had dash cameras.
The funeral for civil rights leader and attorney Julius Chambers was held today in Charlotte. Chambers passed away Friday at the age of 76. Back in 1964, he opened the state's first integrated law practice. He won several cases against racial segregation, including one that led to a Supreme Court decision allowing forced busing.
Jury selection continues in the murder trial of Robert Dixon in Alamance County. It's expected to continue into next week. That's according to the Burlington Times-News. Dixon is accused of hiring 2 men to kill his stepmother in 2007. If convicted, Dixon could face the death penalty.
Right now, investigators in Rowan County say they are making some leads in an unsolved double murder. Cousins Daniel and William Redmond were found dead in a pickup truck last month in Salisbury. Investigators believe the 2 men were actually shot at a home in Cleveland County. Sheriff's office says it does have suspects, but is not releasing their names pending lab results on evidence. A teenager in Davidson County is accused tonight of attacking her grandmother. 18-year-old April Bell was arrested after deputies were called to a home on Spry Road. When they got there, they say they found the 62-year-old victim who was handicapped with several cuts to her arms and bruising on her legs. No word on a possible motive.
Ariel Castro, the man convicted of holding 3 women captive for a decade in Cleveland, has been moved to another prison. There is no word tonight as to the reason for that transfer. The 53-year-old is being held in protective custody, which authorities say is typical for high-profile inmates who may be targeted by other prisoners. Castro was sentenced last week to life in prison plus 1,000 years after pleading guilty to 937 counts. Camp Lejeune Marine has been punished after video surfaced of him on YouTube urinating on the corpses of Taliban fighters in Afghanistan. Sergeant Robert Richards was reduced in rank yesterday to corporal. That video, which received international attention, was shot in July of 2011.
2 teenagers are facing charges tonight accused of vandalizing a Union County church. Graffiti was painted inside Buffalo Methodist Church last week. Now deputies say they've arrested a 15 and 16-year-old in that case. Charges against the teens include malicious injury to a place of worship and burglary. The sheriff calls this a crime of convenience and says there was no specific reason the church was targeted. It's been 2 weeks since that Brinks truck robbery outside the SunTrust Bank on Eastchester Drive in High Point, and tonight still no arrests in that case. Police say the attack on the truck and guards was well planned. The 4 robbers got away with $55,000. Anyone with information is asked to call High Point Police.
An overnight attempted robbery at a Greensboro restaurant has police investigating. This happened just before 3 a.m. at Fat Dog's Grill and Pub on Spring Garden Street. Employees tell police they were closing the business when they were confronted by 2 men who demanded cash. When the employees said they didn't have any money, the pair took off.
Right now, a house fire in Rockingham County is raising concern. Firefighters say the fire that broke out just before 3 this morning on North Willow Street in Reedsville was intentionally set. Firefighters say several obscenities were spray painted on the exterior of the house. They do have a description of a possible suspect. No one was hurt.
And still no word on what sparked an overnight fire at a house in the Piedmont. The flames breaking out around 4 this morning at a home on Gillette Street in Winston-Salem. A neighbor tells WXII 12 News one person lived there. Firefighters say that nobody was injured.
There is 0% containment tonight in a wildfire in Southern California. The fire burning in the mountains about 90 miles east of Los Angeles has grown to more than 15 square miles. Some 1,500 people have been evacuated from their homes and businesses. 3 people, including 2 firefighters, have been injured.
The deadline for people to file a claim against the now defunct Zeke Rewards is September 5th, but it appears only a small percentage of the victims have submitted a claim so far. That is coming from our partners at the High Point Enterprise. Zeke Rewards was shut down last year. The company is accused of running a Ponzi scheme. More than $300 million has been collected for the nearly 850,000 victims.
One of 3 overnight millionaires comes forward. Hear his Powerball dream come true. Coming up on WXII 12 News at 5.
And how about a degree in brewing science? Details on what community college in the Piedmont is offering.
And I'm keeping my eye on the traffic maps for you. I'll let you guys know what's going on when we come right back.